morning, Milwaukee. It's April 23rd. And so here we go. Those of you that I've known for quite a while, you know that I am in, let's just say this. I am hoping in June we have a family reunion with my good friend Larry. Okay? And for those of you who don't know, I am probably more than an avid Bucks fan. I'm an ecstatic Bucks fan, huge basketball fan. And tonight's game 2, if you aren't paying attention, they're playing the Pacers. They were 1-4 against the Pacers in the regular season. They waxed them in game 1, and we're going to wax them again in game 2. So with that, I just have to start off my morning with a little...
Who's gonna win it? The Bucks, the Bucks. The purple and green is exciting and tough. So who's gonna win it? The Bucks, the Bucks. Straight from the Central Division, the team that's swishing, running and dishing. The Bucks on a mission. Cassell and Ray hold it down in the back, but Big Dog and Tim round out the attack. It's the Bucks, talented and tough. What's up? The team from Milwaukee's about to erupt. We got the alley-oop look away.
If that doesn't bring back nostalgia to the greatest theme song ever written, I still believe Scott Williams should have never been ejected from Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Philadelphia, but we will digress. So I'm hoping for a family reunion in June with our good friend Larry. I think he deserves to pay us a visit, and we'll figure it out from there. So it's game 2. I'm really excited. We'll get started. So, all right, mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspective. It's interesting. I was just on a call for the last hour with people from Portugal, Paris, Brazil, all over the world. And a lot of people asking me questions about what it is that we're doing in Milwaukee. And I was like, I don't know, we just show up every day. But one of the things that I shared with them at the very end of the call that I didn't really think had that big of an impact, and then all of a sudden I figured it did, is the matter of perspective, to say, like, look, there is chaos happening in this business all the time. And sometimes I think it's incredibly important for us to maintain perspective of, like, what's your health look like? Like, are you dying? Is your co-broke who's being a total dimwit, is that really the end of the world? Like, I think sometimes in the heat of the April, May, June markets, perspective is lost, and the pressure of the market of the moment weighs heavily on people. And I just shared with the group to say, like, it's okay to kind of put your hands up sometimes and say, like, this sucks. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of people who want, this, that, and the other that I can't deliver on, or there's unrealized expectations. And when you have that before you go home, so that you don't bring that home, that you at least release the pressure valve to say a matter of perspective is important, right? And that what you're doing is making a difference. And at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world with whatever it is that you're facing, right? And so I share that with you because I think right now, in some of the energy and the transactions that I've seen or feeling, like, keep the transaction in perspective. Really, it will help you and serve you in the long term. So give where we live. We've talked about this a lot in terms of Red Day and what it is that we're doing. Here's a really cool fact. We have 170 people signed up for Red Day. That is north of 20% of our entire community in southeastern Wisconsin. Would love to have you participate. There are opportunities for you to participate. And where we need help and support is Hunger Task Force at the farm in the afternoon, tilling gardens and things, that provides 500,000 pounds of food within our southeastern community. We have opportunities in the Hunger Task Force at the farm, and the Franklin Little League in the morning needs a little help and support in helping provide opportunities for youngsters in the Franklin area in Southwest. Other than that, Hunger Task Force warehouse, sold out. Courage MKE, sold out. Zacharias Acres, sold out. which I love because it means that you guys are giving where you live and making an impact on our community. And when we leverage our economies of scale, we can make things happen in a major way. And so if you haven't registered, feel free to register. And we look forward to having an incredible day with everybody on Thursday, May 9th. Now, something that we are bringing back to the world that we need to do a better job of in terms of introducing our new folks and who've joined us in the last 30 days. So Jade Lean in the North Shore, Stephen, Melissa, Chris Fennis out in Lake Country, an incredible agent who mainly works the Madison market, spent some time with us at Family Reunion. Great guy. Sammy Rivera, welcome. Pamela, Angela Harper in Innovation. Nisha Nolan, who was in our environment for a while, left and is now back in our environment. Jenna and Morgan, welcome to the KW fam and the KW community. So next up, phrases of focus. And the reason why I'm going to bring this up is because I'm going to lead right into the market of the moment right up front. Okay. And when I challenged you in January in terms of my phrases of focus for the year and how that shows up was one, chop wood and carry water. Really super easy read. It's a great book if you want to understand the meaning to it, but it basically means this: do your job, do the activities, chop wood, carry water. And when you're consistent in it, the results will show up. Okay. 2 is make an impact. How do you make an impact within your communities? How do you make an impact within your household? How do you make an impact on those that you lead? How do you make an impact on those that raise their hand because they value what it is that you do for them? And I want to showcase for you when you chop wood, carry water, and you make an impact. I shared this last week, but I wanted to show with you on how this lives live. And this is how it lives live. You want to chop wood, carry water, you close 22% more units when the Metro MLS is up 5. Okay. You want to make an impact on clients. You want to make an impact on your life. You want to make an impact on your financial situation. You want to make a dent in your debt. Make an impact is you outperform the market because you chop wood, carry water. Okay. And so I lead with that because I think it's incredibly important as I talk about perspective as to what it is that we do in the heat of the spring market. And we don't lose sight of when we're stuck in a transaction, that we aren't continuously doing our activities to make sure that we're continuously building our business during the heat of the market. And I want to share with you some weekly market insights. And I have the second evolution as to what is happening from an accepted offer standpoint to bring that forth to you this morning based on the feedback that I got last week. So new units going under contract. I looked at this week on a weekly basis. Okay. If you look at it, 442 last week, a little bit of a dip coming off of 492, 534. And then you had the Easter weekend of 343 and then 494, 458, 546. Okay. The tide is absolutely rising. And when you compare that versus the prior 12 weeks, which is basically November through January, you can see now where we sit and how activity is happening. Now, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. This is the chop wood, carry water of the moment of the meeting. We are not in the apex of the spring market. The apex typically hits mid-June in terms of new inventory units. So you're sitting here on April 23rd as a moment of opportunity to know that the tide is still rising based on the market of the moment. And the apex of new inventory coming to the market is still roughly 60 days out. The activities you do today to chop wood and carry water is what will show up in the new listings that you secure or the new buyers you secure that show up in June. Now, units going under contract, this is the tide that continues to ride. Notice how units going under contract is slightly delayed from the new inventory that comes to the market. Okay, 473 last week, the most amount of inventory that went under contract in a given week in 2024. And remind you, chop wood and carry water. Why? Because we aren't at the apex of the market based on the historical seasonality of this business. So the activities you do today will show up in May and June. Don't look at this and think, oh my gosh, no. 473, it's the peak of where we were so far in 2024, but it's not the peak of where we are going still in 2024. Make sense? Now, here's something very interesting to note, and you will see this in the accepted offer data. Last week, we had more units that went under contract than new inventory came to the market. What do you think that does? It puts pressure on people's decision-making ability in terms of the speed, rate of sale, and velocity of the market. Last week was the first week that it happened in 2024. Something I'm absolutely paying attention to here over the next 2 to 3 weeks, because this impacts velocity, rate of sale, both on the listing side and the buyer side. Again, 1 week is an anomaly, 2 weeks is a trend. We're going to see where this goes, but I will show you where this shows up in the accepted offer data. You ready? Beautiful. So last week was the first week we did this, and after some feedback, we made some adjustments in order to get you guys the information you may be seeking. And I showed you on a week-by-week basis so that you can correlate where changes may be occurring. Last week, we reviewed 70 accepted offers with an average price point of $339. And you can see the data down below from there that we reviewed last week. Interestingly to note, we reviewed 121 accepted offers this week. The average price point of those offers was $397,000. List price to accepted offer ratio increased by 2 points. Okay, from 102 last week to 104 this week. Earnest money. I had a request to just understand how much earnest money is being written into these offers. Last week on the 121 deals that were accepted, the average was 1.76%, and the average dollar amount was basically $6,600. Inspection contingency is now where you're starting to see that threshold of the impact of units going under contract, going above new inventory coming to the market. Inspection contingencies, those that had it within the offers, was down 18%. Last week was 49%. This week, 41% of accepted offers had an inspection contingency, 59% did not. Okay. Also, cash offers increased slightly. 30% were cash this week, 70% were financed. The average down payment of finance deals did not change at 14%. Interesting to note, appraisal gaps that were being offered increased substantially to 22% of all accepted offers last week that we reviewed had an appraisal gap that was offered, and the average appraisal gap that was offered jumped to $16,000. So, trying to mine some data for you so that you have ammunition on both the listing side when reviewing offers and the buy side when dealing with clients to help give them real live feedback of what's happening, of what is winning it within deals. Is it just genuinely curious? Is this information helpful? Sweet, sweet. If you have more feedback to it, I got a lot of texts last week. I'm just checking the chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. I got a lot of texts last week with really good information. We do have this by zip. I'm trying to figure out how to boil down the zip because there's a lot of zips in a meaningful way for you. And I'm going to continue to play with that so that maybe over time I can get you a bit more precise information of like 53209 versus 53217 if you're looking for something specific. Still working on this because we're basically 191 deals into this, and the more data I put into this is the more data I can pull out of it to get you more precise information. Does that make sense? We're going to continue to play with it, and if you have feedback, I would love it so that we can make this the most impactful for you. Shoot me a text, shoot me an email, and we'll look to ways that we can add it if we can. Yes.
I just want to make a comment on this. This is crazy valuable for your buyers. When you're sitting down to write an offer and no one believes you that people are backing on inspection, or people are writing cash, you sit down with this where people are offering appraisal gaps. You sit down with this and say, here's what happened last week, here's what happened the week before. If you think the market isn't meeting up, you gotta be kidding me. This is crazy.
It's probably buyers that have been broken down and losing out that are now.
That's exactly. Yeah.
So stay tuned. If you have more feedback to it, would love it. Shoot it to me. I'll make sure that we post this. I'll also make sure that we're adding this to Willis's Keller Williams listing network that gets sent out every week. Hint, hint, quiddle reminder, trying to get you guys access to information. The information is only as good as what you input. If you have listings that are coming up, would love for you to input that into the spreadsheet so we can get you guys more information. Cool? Not a way for me to pull this on a broader pool. Yeah. One thing to note, and I just want to make sure, Steve asked if we can pull this on a broader pool. Not really, because it's just internally what we can review and see. However, this is not, you got to remember, if you have a listing, this is inclusive of the information gathered from what is your co-broke is writing too. And so it is a little bit of a cross section of what the industry is doing. And we're going to continue to look to evolve this to make sure we're gathering the right insights for you to help you win. Cool.
Just knowing we have the largest market share, this is a huge piece of information because it really is a good.
Yeah, and we're on piece of the market. This is how you outpace the market.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
All right. With that, I'm flipping it over to Lindsay Vranek, who's got a little bit of a Tech Tuesday update for you.
All right, good morning. So it's been a little bit since I've gone through the KW Command app, and Keller Williams has been kind of quietly releasing new features and functionality to this app over the last few months. So I wanted to touch on a few things because the purpose of the Command app is to save you time and help you create more efficiency within your day-to-day business. And one of those features too, that's a little bit newer is to kind of provide more value to your clients and for you to provide that value to them. And so they've kind of incorporated the ability to share neighborhood data directly from the Command app. So if you guys are sending out the monthly neighborhood nurture, if you're utilizing your website and sharing links to the neighborhood data, you can now do it directly from the Command app. So it's really, really simple. You basically just click into a contact record and you have a section for neighborhoods. You click on add remove, you have a map view, you can click on any neighborhood, and you'll see on the screenshot here, you have the option to share details. So if you have someone asking about a particular area or a particular neighborhood, you can just pull up your Command app, go directly to that neighborhood and share those details with them. That's going to pull in the market statistics, the local school information, and the active and pending homes that are for sale in that particular neighborhood. And you can do that within any neighborhood across the country because this is all encompassing. It's international too, depending on the market, but so it's really good data that's at your fingertips. One of my favorite features, this has been around for a little bit, but I think it's really important just to mention this because I think a lot of people forget that you have a digital business card through your Command app. There's no need to purchase one. You have it already through this app. And it's very, very simple to access. You pull up the Command app directly on that dashboard. You have your name at the upper right or upper left corner, and you have my business card. That's going to pull up a QR code where someone else can scan that. It's going to pull in your contact information directly to their phone so that they can save your contact record. You also have the option to just share it directly by texting your contact information to somebody. So again, right at your fingertips, right on that dashboard in the Command app. You can also import your phone contacts. So we're always talking about filling the funnel and adding more people to your database. And this is such an easy way to do that. The important thing, there's no setup required. You don't have to have a spreadsheet. You don't have to map over the fields and know which fields map where. You just go into your contacts, the little like headshot icon, at the bottom of your command app, and there's 3 dots at the top. You click that, you click import contacts. I think you just have to allow the app to have access to your contacts, and then boom, you'll see the list of all of your phone contacts. You have the option of selecting all and importing them all into your command database, or you can just scroll through and check off which contacts you want to add. So if you're like, okay, I have not added anyone in my database in the last few months, but I've added these people into my phone, grab your phone, pull this up, and just check off the contacts you need to add. You can manage your opportunities through the command app. So the nice thing about this is they have it laid out very, very nicely, in my opinion. It's very easy to access your opportunities, your pipeline. So you have 3 views available. So you have the pipeline view. So you've got, it's very similar to how you see it on the desktop as well. So it's nothing any different, I would say, but it's all organized in a very nice view for you guys. So you've got the pipeline view, you've got the all opportunities, more of that list view. And then I love this, you've got a closing soon tab. So you can actually click on that and you can see what's coming up, what's closing in the next few weeks to a month. And finally, you can also interact with your database. So I think this is one of the most important features of the command app, just because it allows you to interact with your contacts on the go. You don't have to be sitting at your computer and logging in notes and checking off your tasks and making your calls. You can log your meetings, your emails, your calls and texts and notes directly in here. So all of this information shows up on the contacts timeline. So you have a history of those events and those interactions with that person. But the best thing about this is that when you do pull up your contacts, you have the ability to call them, text them, send them an email. The moment that you hang up with someone, you left them a voicemail or you sent them an email, the app is going to trigger this pop-up that you see on the screen here to add that activity. It's going to actually ask you, would you like to add this to so-and-so's timeline? You can say yes, you can add your notes, you have the date and the time, when did this occur, what did you talk about? So you have that history right at your fingertips. So if you're making your monthly calls, your quarterly calls, do it through the command app. It's so much simpler and easier to, keep track of everything, keep track of your conversations. So if anyone has questions on the command app, reach out to me. We just did a training on this last week. We've done past trainings on this, but really highly recommend. If you don't have this downloaded, you guys, search Keller Williams, search command in the App Store, Google Play Store. Pull this up. It's your same login as you would logging into the command desktop version. Switching gears just a little bit, just want to talk about a couple upcoming trainings. So we've got our compliance and command and zip form training coming up this Thursday at 11. So we do this training once a month. This is a great opportunity to join us live and ask us some questions. This is me and Steph doing this training. So this is the process. Okay, what does it look like to create an opportunity? What kind of things can I do within the opportunities section? How do I create a new version? Did a transaction camera? How do you create a version? How do you split and attach documents? How do you utilize zip forms, drafting capabilities? Where do you find the clause library? We cover all of this in this monthly training that we do. I'm really excited about this, you guys. So we are kind of switching gears with our marketing and tech training, and we're going to be coming out with a social branding bootcamp starting May 16th. This is going to be in person at the innovation office. So we're going to be really focusing on how to set up a Facebook business page. How do you utilize Instagram for your business? We'll be talking a little bit about TikTok. We'll be going through Canva. How do you create something? Hopefully TikTok's not going away, but I heard this morning. But So a lot of very specific trainings within this boot camp. So this is going to be every Thursday, again, starting May 16th, and we're going to be doing this through August. We're going to have some special guest speakers coming in. So stay tuned for more details on this. We'll be coming out with a very detailed agenda very soon, but just wanted to get this on your radar so that, you know, when you see the May calendar, you know what the social branding boot camp is. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Lindsay. All right. Hear me on this. I'll challenge the group on something. There's a young agent in our universe. Her name's Emily. Emily made, I think I may be speaking out of turn here, either right around 6 figures or north of 6 figures. Okay. Emily's also in her 20s. And 100% of Emily's business, you know where it came from? TikTok. So, something you should be paying attention to in terms of if you need to diversify your levers. Lindsay is providing you a platform to help you understand what it is that you may be missing within this environment. And she's going to be providing guest speakers and things such as Emily and a variety of others to help you understand about how you should be or considering doing your business differently in an environment that is constantly changing. And Emily is an incredible example of someone who's built a phenomenal business doing things differently than the way they historically had been done. Make sense? Love it. All right, Lieutenant Kennard, we have compliance updates that these guys need to be paying attention to. What is it that you've got this week, Lieutenant?
All right, good morning, everybody. Just some kind of more housekeeping items for everyone this morning. We just wanted to remind you this, I'm going to aim this message at our listing agents. When you guys get accepted offers on your listings, please make sure that we are directing our buyer's agents to use trust funds for earnest money submission. And as the buyer's agent is the one who initiates the deposit from MLS, and then we as a listing company holds the earnest money, of course. So next slide, Charlie. Just a reminder on where you find that link. So if a buyer's agent does not know where the trust funds link is, it's from MLS. And then depending on the size of your screen, you might have to go to the more options up on the right-hand side, click the trust funds link, and then make sure that the buyer's broker is choosing listing broker as the one to hold the earnest money. And I believe the fee now for buyers is up to $8 to use this, but a lot cleaner, a lot safer. We really, really want to make sure that buyers are using trust funds to deposit their earnest money. So,
Hey, Steph, I got a question for you.
yes, sir.
How much, I don't need an exact number, just give me rough estimates. How much do you pay per month, or maybe on an annualized basis, for home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, the whole thing?
Well, home insurance, like $1,200 a year, auto insurance. I've gotten into a lot of accidents, so like another $1,000 per year. Yeah. So
Gist of the story is you buy insurance, correct?
yes, sir.
It's a couple thousand annually, correct?
Yes.
We can talk offline about your driving habits, but that's another. Okay. Why listing agents and buyer's agents aren't thinking about trust funds and as an insurance policy to protect your information in a day and age in which everything is trying to be intercepted is beyond me. Yesterday, we had a earnest money check from someone who was delivered to the office where the buyer forgot to sign it, and they don't live anywhere close to here. Okay. My point to it is this. Trust funds is an insurance policy. You buy insurance in almost every aspect of your life. You should be protecting your information, your client's information, and their client's financials, because everyone's trying to get access to it, in the way that you protect yourself is utilizing the platforms such as trust funds. And it shocks me how often we still receive physical checks from people, which, quite frankly, if you didn't know this, USPS is not the most secure avenue of transportation of sensitive information. So trust funds, trust funds, trust funds, trust funds on a monthly basis our utilization of trust funds is less than 40% of all transactions.
Ooh,
So, yes, insurance, 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 insurance. So, thanks, Steph. I appreciate the reminder. It was very timely as we are heading into the busiest of busy seasons. Now, Steph, we also have a real live scenario that these guys need to pay attention to, and let me set it up before you explain it. Okay. Something happens in the government. Okay. And the government acts on patterns. I don't know if you know this, but like they get focused in one area and then they focus on that area until they feel like they've squeezed the lemon for all the juice it's worth. There's a little bit of a pattern in the state government right now where they're focusing on the do not call registry. There have been several instances in the Madison market of people being fined and taken to, I don't even know what happens, but you get fined. Okay. You need to understand what your liability is in the do not call registration. And we just want to make you aware of it because the government acts in patterns, and there is a particular pattern that's happening right now. Steph, what do these guys need to know around the do not call registration?
yeah, another form of insurance, right? So, we just need to make.
Yes, you're listening.
We just need to make sure, this is lifted directly from our ICAs, you guys, so, you have direct line of sight. So just a reminder, agents of Market Center making telephone solicitation calls or texts to a Wisconsin resident to encourage the recipient of the call or text to consider purchasing property, goods, or services. We have to register with both the national and Wisconsin do not call registries. And we are leaving this up to the individual agents to take care of. So I got more information on the coming slides.
One thing to note, many of you purchase services from platforms that say they are registered with the do not call list. You have to remember that registers more often than not, those platforms register on the federal list, the national list, but it does not register them on the local Wisconsin list. And so you just want to make sure that you're dotting both I's in that scenario.
Yes. An agent is defined, F, the owner of any telephone lines making telephone solicitations, and this is key too, the agent responsible for employing or contracting with any individual or vendor to make the telephone solicitation calls. So I know a lot of us are contracting with third parties to make these kind of calls for us. We need to make sure that they are compliant as well. And we need to make sure that we are getting proof that they are on the national and state registrations as well. And something that I was reminded of rereading our ICA, we need to provide this proof to our MCA. So Jen and Emily should be keeping track and record of this. So if you are utilizing a third-party company, please make sure that we are getting proof that they are on the national and Wisconsin registries.
And real quick, the reason why that's important is because we're the first line of defense for you. And when we get the phone call from the state examining your license for the do not call, as long as we know that you're registered, we don't have to bother you because we like to play proactive insurance policies. If we don't know if you are, then we have to dig into it with you, and then it just becomes a distraction for your business. So we like having it on file so that we can mitigate these issues if and when they arise on your behalf for you. Yes. Yeah, the fines are significant. I'll tell you, several years ago, we had an agent within our environment who was fined, I believe, $7,000 for their lack of registration on the do not call list. Yes. It started at 10, it was appealed down, but 7's a real number. Sarah wanted to remind the group that even when falsely accused of doing these activities, the amount of hours it takes to defend things like this at the tune of 30+ hours, there is a cost of that time in your business. So good reminder, good reminder, good reminder. So.
And then just to scare you guys a little bit, if you guys are making, if it's part of your business practice to call FSBOs and expireds, these are included. So we need to make sure that we are on the do not call list if we are making it a practice to call expireds and FSBOs, okay? So I know a lot of us are making those phone calls and are not necessarily on that list. So And actually, Charlie, do not. We're gonna resend these links out.
We'll
One
send
of
them
them-
out, Steph.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. All right. Next up, okay, so binding acceptance. So this came up a few times actually this past couple weeks. And it might be the case where a buyer's agent is submitting an offer to purchase, has given a tight binding acceptance deadline. And in good faith, they want to extend that binding acceptance deadline if the seller cannot meet it. And you can do this with a counter offer, just simply stating that what the new binding acceptance timeline is. But where we're running into troubles is the listing agent then is having their sellers sign that counter offer. You have just accepted the whole offer by doing that.
Yes.
So you need to make sure you're just receiving it, and that's all you are doing. You do not need to have the seller acknowledge it in any way by signing the actual counter offer form. Okay, so just please beware. You're just receiving it as the listing agent and then moving on. Okay?
Good reminder. Good reminder.
Yes. Gotten into hot water.
And remind you, we only bring these things up because these are real scenarios we face every day.
Makes for really uncomfortable conversations, so just avoid it. All right, and then this is just a reminder on buyer's financing application. This came across last night. In terms of ensuring and making it a part of your contract to close processes, we have to make sure that our buyers are applying for financing within 7 days after acceptance of the offer. So as buyer's agents, make it a part of your process that you are sending the executed offer to the lender directly, and making sure that you are part of that communication between the buyer and the lender in terms of delivering that accepted offer to purchase. And then as listing agents, just check in with the buyer's agent to make sure that the financing has been applied for. I know that when I was in contract to close, I would just go and hit up the lender directly as a buyer's agent, make sure, can you please confirm that the buyers have applied for financing, get that email and just make a PDF of it and send it right to the listing agent so that we just know that our deadlines are gonna be met and the process has started, so nothing has to get delayed. All right. I think that's all I have. That's all I have. Thank you,
There
everyone.
you go. In the effort of chop wood, carry water, the first step in order to chop wood is what? Sharpen the axe. Okay, sharpen the axe. So April training calendar, what do we got coming up? You can see here for this week, a variety of different things. I will note Value Squared. The last one live is on Thursday, the 25th from 12 to 4. You can see it in the offices. You can also stream it live from the comforts of your own home on KW Connect. Also, next week, Monday, I want to call out that there is a save the date. Jeff Glover is coming to Milwaukee, 1 to 4 p.m. at the War Memorial. The first half is his listing presentation. The second half is how he's handling buyer objections as it relates to the current environment in the market at the moment. Next, this week, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, Maureen is hosting a panel all around seller conversations and the dialogues that Jay, Lisa, and Kristen are having with her clients. And what do those conversations look like? And how do we be proactive in those communications and addressing concerns up front? Also, on Wednesday from 12 to 4 is an opportunity for a free 12-hour digital event around win with the buyers, all around articulating our value. What does that mean? Notice we're sharpening your axe. We're giving you everything you could possibly need in order for you to articulate what it is that you desire in order to get the value you desire to earn. I mentioned Value Squared coming up this week, Thursday, and Jeff is here in person next week, the 29th, which is a Monday. Okay, outside of our normal schedule of when we sharpen our axes, Monday we typically leave it open. Next week it's Monday, where the War Memorial from 1 to 4. 187 people are registered as of this morning. So great opportunity. And lastly, I've brought this up several times, but Jason does a phenomenal podcast, MREA. It drops on Monday, and on Thursday, they give you the one-pager notes around all the meat and potatoes that they talked about within the podcast. So if you're like me and you have a hard time listening to podcasts, this gives you the, what I would call the Cliff Notes version of podcasts, the same way I read my books when I was in high school. I looked for the Cliff Notes. Cool. Lastly, Willis has his 5 and 5 series, episode 33 with Sharice and Tony coming out this week, Friday. So if you want to learn more about an incredible duo that have built an incredible business and have built wealth building opportunities that have provided for them and their family, Tony and Sharice will be sharing that information with Willis this week, Friday. With that, for those of you who celebrate Passover, I hope you had an incredible Passover evening last night. And continue into today. And for those of you that are cheering on the Bucks, let's hope that Larry pays us a visit, get extra loud. And guys, it's a great day in Milwaukee. It's a beautiful day. Keep life in perspective and you'll continue to be successful. Thanks, guys. Thanks for showing up.